Hello ladies and mostly gentlemen, my name is Vinny B and welcome to part 16 on the Smart-Hayabusa, the tutorial on how to align, balance and adjust the suspension on your car using the little one, because you probably slime a bit too much that right of yours and it won't fit anymore on that alignment machine. No, it's just me? Okay. So this video is going to be separated in 3 different sections. The first one's going to be on how to adjust the caster and the camber angle, because changing the caster and the camber angle can change your toe angle, which is pretty much the alignment of your car. That's why I will have to do those adjustments first. And if it's the first time you ever heard about caster and camber angle, then first you should go check my other video on the suspension. Yep, a bit of self-promoting here, never hurts. So the first section is caster and camber, the second one will be on corner balancing, and finally the third one will be on the alignment. So if you want to skip any section, for corner balancing go at
3 minutes 52 seconds.
And for the alignment you should go at
6 minutes 50 seconds.
Good, so for those of you who are still here, let's talk caster adjustment. And here is what I found during my research. Well, you would need some equipment. Like this. So I made myself a straight bar that I could mount on it an angle finder. It has many holes, so I can adjust it to the size of the rim the car has. And with the threaded bolt, I can adjust the squareness of the tool.
You can also buy some toe plates with an angle finder and some Caster-Camber gauge. Link downstairs.
And also, I made myself some turning plates. These are simple pieces of wood that I marked every 10 degrees. You're gonna have 2 sets of those and they will go underneath your front wheels. Finally, you will have to level out your shop floor. Adding shim underneath each wheels, make sure that your car is gonna be perfectly leveled. That will help you reach out underneath your car all those nuts and bolts to adjust the suspension and also during corner balancing. Okay, once you're all set, the procedure is quite simple. You'll need to turn your front wheels 20 degrees to the left. You zeroed out your angle finder, then turn right your wheels another 20 degrees and take a reading from your angle finder, and that's your caster angle. To adjust your caster with a double wishbone like the Smart-Hayabusa, you screw in and out one of the heim joint of the upper wishbone.
And repeat the procedure until you reach the angle you're looking for.
And the results are in! Alright, for the caster angle, I was able to reduce it just above 7.5 degrees. I started out higher than 13 degrees, so 7.5 is a number that I'm comfortable with. And if you're asking me how I figured out the number on caster and camber, well, it's an average of all the setups I read about on guys having Miatas and other small racing cars. So yeah, maybe I will have to later on fine-tune a little bit of suspension, but for now I think I got a pretty much good starting point. Alright, let's do the camber now. So it is really straightforward. Once again, I'm using the same tool. I just have to read the angle finder and that's my camber angle. To adjust the camber, you just have to screw in or out the top pivot heim joint. And while being there, I just added a bigger washer. Just make sure that if the ball of the heim joint wants to pop out, I've got something that will retain my wheel to the car. So, you know, a bit of safety sometimes never hurts. So I finally fine-tuned it to around 2.8 degrees at the front and close to 1.5 at the back. Alright.
Let's do the corner balancing.
And let me show you how I understand it. Corner balancing is just like a chair. A chair with one of his legs shorter than the other. So if you put weight on it and scales underneath each leg, you will find that these 2 legs have more weight on them than these 2 because they're floating. You now have an unbalanced chair or car. Right, so it's really obvious with a chair, but with a car, how can we balance it back? Well, we have to equalize the addition of the weight of these 2 legs, the one across, with these 2. It forms an X. Okay, but how? Well, you can move heavy stuff around, which is kind of hard to do in a car. Or you can play with the suspension spring height. Well, in my case, on the Smart-Hayabusa, I will just have to use a cantilever, pushing in or out one of the wheels. Just like if I was adjusting the height of each legs of that chair. Alright, but first I need to simulate my featherlight body weight. in the car. Yeah, right, pedal light. Alright, to measure the weight at each corner of your car, one way is to buy a really expensive scale setup. Or you can do like me and buy two identical super cheap scales. And I bought two because for one wheel I was reaching the limit of the scale. And don't forget, you always need to keep the car level. So put shims underneath the other wheels that you're not using the scales on. And these shims will need to be obviously the same thickness as the scale. Alright, so let's measure those four corners and off we go. And the results are in! Yeah, I know it's the same sheet as before. So I ended up having 406 pounds at the front left, 375 front right, 540 rear left, and 510 rear right. And adding those weights, I ended up having 916 on one side and 915 on the other side, which is... I'm not making that up, so I never touch my cantilever. Yeah, I really think I've been a bit lucky here. Oh, and one other thing that I can tell you, the weight ratio for the Smart-Hayabusa is 45% at the front and 55% at the back, which is close to the 50-50. So having the Hayabusa engine a bit too much forward mounted is not such a bad thing after all. Alright, now we are ready to do the alignment. Let's do this! Okay, so you're gonna need 4 steps, one at each corner of your car. And you can make a crappy editing video to make them magically appear, but that part is really optional. Ta-da! Next, find 2 long and straight bars. They will need to be longer than the width of your car. Clamp them together and make 2 marks. These marks need to be roughly about 2 inches wider than the width of your car. It's fishing time! Stretch the fishing line using a counterweight. Make sure that these fishing lines will pass through the middle of both wheels. This will be crucial for the next steps. Then align and measure the bar parallel to the rear wheel. And do the same thing at the front. Good, now it's time to center the complete setup to the car. Because think about it. These lines could end up being closer on one side of the car. So, to center the setup, you will measure from the center cap of the wheel to the fishing line. And also something else you have to keep in mind, maybe the rear is a bit wider than the front, so the distances should be equal on both sides at the front. Let's say it's 1 inch, and equal from both sides at the back. Let's say it's 3/4 of an inch, to guarantee that the setup is centered to the car. As you can see, the distances are not the same from front to back, because there's a difference in their width, but the setup is still centered to the car. Well, the Smart-Hayabusa was actually 3/8 of an inch wider at the front. Yeah, oopsie. Alright, so let's adjust the toe angle of the front wheel by screwing in or out the tie rod. At the back, since I'm having a 5-link suspension, one of those links is dedicated to adjust the toe angle. For reference, I will put a slight toe in at the back and dead zero at the front. So to get 0, you just have to adjust the wheel until you get the same distance on both sides of the rim to the fishing line. Alright, let's do this! And a quick tip, to help the wheels slide side to side, you should put them on 2 pieces of masonite wood. That's it, all set. It's done. Let's do the other side. Woohoo! Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to align, balance, and adjust your suspension. Yeah, it was pretty much only how I did it on my Smart-Hayabusa, but still I think it gives you a good starting point to do your own adjustment. So that concludes phase 1 of the Smart-Hayabusa. But don't worry guys, I'm already planning upgrades for the Smart, like and driving it. So stay tuned, because in roughly 2 weeks, there's gonna be a new video on the Smart-Hayabusa. Alright, so till then, go do something with your hands, your head, or both. See ya!
Ils voyaient rien, je te dis, moi ils savent pas qu'il fait frais de même.
Bon, on rentre à la maison.
Moi je te dis, on rentre à la maison. On va aller voir ce qu'il reste à filmer, parce qu'il doit rester des affaires à filmer.
Ok, on ferme ça là.